So this episode is brought to you by the amazing individuals who've chosen to show support for what we're doing at Unmute. Head on over to unmute.show to either join the club yourself or gift a membership to someone who might get value out of it. Remember, if you sign up before the end of the year, you're paying $3 versus the $5 a month it's going up to, and you can purchase annually and lock those prices in too. Thanks again for being a club member.
This has been an ACB community call.
So this was fun. Composed on November 19th. Give this a listen, especially to the end. Let's play with some AI.
Hi everyone, this is Nova. We're trying something new while we're on hiatus from our Tuesday shows. Last week, we experimented with AI and got some great feedback, so we're tweaking things a bit more this week. Here's what's on the agenda. We'll start by answering a question submitted by one of you, and then I'll hand things over to my friends at Google Notebook LM. They've gone through all the content we published in the past week, 1 hour and 52 minutes of it, and distilled it into a much shorter, summarized recap. Think of it as a weekly highlight reel of everything you need to know in a fraction of the time. We're excited to hear your thoughts on this new format. Let's get started. We have someone on the line. Hi, you're on with Nova. What's your name?
Hi, this is Alloy.
Hi, Alloy. Great to have you on. What's your question today?
I'm using a Mac keyboard, so I know that the Option key acts as Alt, and the Command key is like the Windows key. I'm trying to configure Windows to use Control-Option as regular modifier keys, like Control-Alt, without it being tied to VoiceOver as the modifier key. Could you walk me through how to make sure Control plus Option isn't being used as the VoiceOver modifier key so I can use it properly in Windows?
Thanks for the question, Alloy. Here's how you can set that up. 1. Open the VoiceOver utility. Press VO plus F8, Control-Option F8 to access the utility. 2. Go to Activities. Use Command 0 to open the Activities section. 3. Add a new activity. Locate the Add Activity option and create a new one. You can name it Windows to keep things organized. 4. Customize commands. Navigate to the Commands option and enable customization for this activity by checking the box. Choose Set Commands to open the command settings specific to your new activity. 5. Reassign the VoiceOver modifier key. Change the VoiceOver modifier to so that Control plus Option is freed up for other uses. Once done, use the Done option at the bottom of the screen to save your settings. 6. Assign the activity to Windows Apps. Scroll down to the Apps and Websites section at the bottom of the Activities screen. Use the pop-up menu to select Parallels Desktop Apps and Websites or any other app where you'll be using Windows. After you set this up, Control plus Option will no longer act as the VoiceOver modifier when you're using Parallels or similar Windows apps. This frees those keys to act as Control-Alt in Windows. Does that help, Alloy?
That sounds perfect. Thanks, Nova.
Glad I could help. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out. Now, let's move on to our weekly recap, brought to you by Google Notebook LM. Stay tuned for a quick rundown of everything we covered this week, distilled and streamlined for you. Let us know what you think of the new format.
Hey there. Ready for a quick rundown of what we found this week? Trying something new, getting straight to the point, you know.
Yeah, tips and tricks, right? Digital clutter, iPhone stuff, even accessibility hurdles, how to get around them.
That overflowing downloads folder, always a mess. We looked at this Mac tool, Hazel. Automatically sorts and organizes your files, like magic.
It's amazing you can set up rules, right? So like downloaded podcasts, it moves them to a specific folder. No more hunting.
No kidding. Saves so much time. Speaking of time savers, iPhones, accidental pocket dials, everyone's done it. But what about the camera launching by accident? iPhone 16, that button sensitive.
Oh, yeah. Easy fix, though. Change the setting. Double-click to launch, no more pocket photo shoots. Plus, bonus, you can even set it to open the barcode scanner instead.
Handy. Little tweaks can make a big difference. Like, did you know about iPhone bookmarks? Safari, more flexible than people think.
Seriously. Drag and drop to rearrange them. There's even an edit button. Quick repositioning, renaming, all that. Bookmarks. Gotta stay organized, right?
Right. Speaking of organization, voice commands for phone calls, total game changer.
Coop.
especially for accessibility.
Think about it, just saying call mom or dial whatever the number is to Siri. No more menus. Way more accessible for folks who struggle with touchscreens.
Makes sense. Even businesses you find through search, Siri can handle it. Technology should make life easier, you know?
Yeah.
We also got a listener question about VoiceOver, specifically the grouped navigation. Efficient, but it uses those two-finger flicks, which lots of folks have remapped to other stuff.
Yeah. The great thing, though, is iPhone accessibility, it's customizable. So reassign the VoiceOver gestures, use four-finger swipes maybe for like move in, move out. Does the same thing, doesn't mess with your other settings.
Gotta love options.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we talked about something people don't always think about. Battery chargers. Accessibility for those, not always there.
Right, like audible feedback or something tactile. Many chargers, nothing. Tough for folks with visual impairments, got to know when it's done charging. But there are options, thankfully. Parallel's good for basic charging. And there's the easy battery tester from the American Printing House for the Blind. It beeps to tell you the charge level. Design matters, even for simple stuff.
For sure. Okay, something that gives everyone anxiety. iPhone updates, new iOS, and you're like, is everything going to break? Accessibility regressions, always a worry.
Totally valid concern. Do your research first, I always say. AppleVis, great resource. Website, online community, all about Apple accessibility. Tons of info, user feedback. Get a heads up before you update.
Like a safety net.
Yeah.
Okay, next up. Accessible audiobooks. This new beta skill for Amazon Alexa. My Talking Books.
This is cool. National Library Service folks, blind and print disabled, they can access their audiobooks right through Alexa. Still in beta, but promising.
Very promising. But heads up. It's command specific. Exact wording, Alexa's got to understand you. Oh, and quirky tip. Pause the audiobook before you exit the skill. Otherwise, it keeps playing, you lose your spot.
Beta quirks, gotta love them. Overall, though, My Talking Books, great example. Voice assistants making audiobooks more accessible, it's awesome. Speaking of accessibility, we dove into some web frustrations. Websites with keyboard shortcuts, but they don't work well with screen readers.
Happens all the time. Developers got to test things thoroughly. We actually ran into this with LinkedIn. Keyboard navigation was a mess. Makes you realize web accessibility, it's a journey, not a destination. Got to keep pushing for it.
Couldn't agree more. Users having to find workarounds like toggling VoiceOver on and off. That defeats the purpose. Feedback is key. Got to keep advocating for an inclusive web. You know, it's funny, right? We find these workarounds, but the solution should just be there on the website from the start. Developers need to get it.
Yeah, no kidding. It shouldn't be on the user to make things accessible. Okay, lighter topic. Email. Setting up Outlook on my Mac made me wonder, why bother with desktop email these days? Webmail's so convenient. Gmail, all that.
True, webmail's come a long way. Features, accessibility right there in your browser. But some folks, they like the offline stuff. Customization. Desktop apps like Outlook, they offer that. Different strokes, right? Depends how you use email.
Fair enough. Speaking of Gmail, though, did you know? Keyboard shortcuts. You got to turn those on manually in the settings. Small thing. I bet tons of people miss out on that speed boost.
Hidden gems, right. Take the time, poke around those settings menus. Even an app to use every day, you never know what you'll find.
Totally. Okay, bigger picture now. Web browsers. We talked about screen reader compatibility, right?
Mm-hmm.
Leads to the question, which browser is best for accessibility?
Tough one. Each browser, strengths and weaknesses. Some, better keyboard navigation. Others, handle specific screen reader features better. Good news is, competition's good. Makes everyone step up their game.
True, but makes a simple answer hard to give. I've used a bunch over the years. Sometimes is trial and error finding what clicks for you.
And it's not always one or the other. Right tool for the job, right? General browsing, one browser. Specific accessibility needs, maybe a different one's better.
Makes sense. I remember years ago this tool called Fluid made standalone desktop apps out of websites. Used it for SourceForge, actually. More focused experience than the website itself.
Clever. Shows how the lines are blurring, web apps, desktop apps. Sometimes the website packaged up as an app, better experience. Especially if the site itself is clunky.
Funny you mention that. SourceForge, they did release their own desktop app eventually. Did the same thing my Fluid setup did. But point is, lots of ways to customize your tech. Make it work for you.
Speaking of making things work, remember Hazel, that Mac automation tool. Works its magic in the background. Set it and forget it. Keeps things organized.
Oh, love Hazel. Files. Cleaning my downloads folder. Renaming things based on rules I set. Time saver. Brain saver. Automation for the win.
Like a little robot assistant who loves filing. Remember, behind these tools, there's developers. They put in the work. Support them. Buy the upgrades, licenses. helps them keep making things better.
Absolutely. And it means they don't have to resort to those shady tactics. Selling user data, bombarding us with ads, everyone wins.
Exactly. Speaking of good practices, something else to think about. App ownership changes. Take a look at your app's extensions every now and then. Privacy policies, who owns it now? Things change.
Especially apps with sensitive info or those connected to other services. Easy to install and forget, but gotta stay vigilant.
On that note, our relationship with search engines, AI assistants, they're huge GE now, right? How we find information, make decisions, even how we interact with the world.
It's true. ChatGPT, I use it more and more. Research, making sense of complex stuff, like having a research buddy on call 24/7.
AI is getting woven into everything we do.
Yeah.
But gotta remember, potential biases, limitations, powerful tools, but not perfect. Our responsibility to use them wisely.
Oh, this is funny. Using ChatGPT, trying to figure out how to delete a specific message in a thread, certain app, it suggested using icons that weren't even there in the app. Made me laugh. AI, so smart, but sometimes goofy.
Like when you ask a voice assistant something simple and it gives you this bizarre answer. Hilarious. But yeah, reminder, AI's still got a ways to go.
Can't just blindly trust it to solve everything. But AI, exciting possibilities. Wearable AI, smart glasses, bone conduction headphones, all tied in with AI assistants.
Imagine talking to your assistant through your glasses or headphones, still aware of your surroundings, like having this personal guide. Always there.
I'm already sold on bone conduction headphones. Music, podcasts, but I can still hear what's going on around me. Best of both worlds.
Meta, Apple, they're all in on wearable tech. Future of AI might be right there in front of our eyes or on our ears. Exciting times.
Speaking of Apple and excitement.
Rumors,
right? Wall-mounted Apple device with a screen, Home Ace, they're calling it, like a home hub with a display. Apple Home, FaceTime, all that tied in.
Interesting concept. Would be a statement piece, that's for sure. But cost, complexity, niche product for the Apple diehards, or will it have something for everyone?
Time will tell. Always fun to speculate. And speaking of time, we've covered a lot here. Email quirks to the future of AI. Wow.
And there's more where that came from. Stick around. Final part of our deep dive coming up next.
All right, back for more. Wrapping things up today, talking ebook conversion, those weird app names, and some Apple Music goodies.
Ebook formats, always a struggle. Buy a book, want to read it in a certain app on a specific device. Bam, formatting's messed up, or DRM's blocking you.
Drives me nuts. Kindle books, this happened to me. Wanted to use them with a text-to-speech app, but Kindle's format, the DRM, nightmare.
I get it, right? You want to enjoy your stuff your way. Not about piracy. It's about accessibility, preference.
Exactly. Thankfully, there are tools. We talked about Calibre. It's free, open source, manages ebooks, contours between formats.
Calibre, lifesaver for ebook libraries. Even has some DRM removal stuff, though. That gets tricky legally and all.
Definitely going to check it out. Okay, lighter topic. Searching for info online. App names are too generic. It's a pain.
Oh, the worst. Need help with an app, but the name's so common your search results are useless.
Like finding a needle in a haystack. Apple Music, why call it that? Googling anything specific about it is impossible.
Developers, take note. Unique names, descriptive, it helps users so much.
Good point. Okay, something positive. Apple Music. Spotify gets all the hype, but Apple Music has some gems.
Recognize music, gotta love it. Shazam, built right in. Hear a song, hold up your phone, boom, you know what it is.
I use that all the time. Replace the flashlight shortcut on my lock screen, put the Recognize Music widget there, even faster.
Nice. And then add it to your library, make a playlist, easy. Curated playlists, radio stations, Apple Music does those well too.
And smart playlists, based on criteria you set, your own personal DJ.
Well, that brings us to the end, folks. Tech and accessibility deep dive, done for another week. From digital organization to ebook mysteries, we covered it all.
Hope you enjoyed the new format. Found some useful stuff along the way. Remember, we're here to help you navigate the tech world. It's always changing.
More content over at unmute.show, including our Black Friday gift guide, coming soon.
Happy exploring, everyone. See you next time.